If your industrial content sucks and is not getting engagement, in this video, I'm going to show you the secrets on how we get six-figure impressions every single month. What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Milan. It's Tuesday, so what does that mean? That means we're going to be talking about industrial marketing today. That's what we do. Let's jump into today's topic. Today is ideas for better engagement with content in industrial marketing. What does that mean? That means that I'm going to come with a little bit of experience and tell you what's working, what isn't, and what you guys can do. Talking point number one, understand value. People, I'm going to make some assumptions here. I'm going to assume that you either are currently making content or are going to start making content, and that's why you're watching this. If you're like, I'm on the fence, should I make content? Let's start with bullet point number one. You have to understand that you have so much value between your ears that you need to speak out of your mouth and share with people. Whenever I talk to people about their knowledge and the value that they provide, they're like, I could never do that. I could never do so many videos. Or even companies are like, how could you guys possibly create 130 videos over the next year for us? It's like, if you break everything that you do down and you look at all of the value that you provide, you can make a video for every single topic. So I want you content creators out there to know that you have value to add and get over the fact that you don't think that you can add it. If you are already creating content, you're like, Kyle, I just want the tips. I just want to know how can I make my content get better engagement? Still understand the value. What value can you provide to your target demographic? So you have to first understand, who am I trying to go after? Who am I trying to help? Not necessarily go after from a sales standpoint, but who am I trying to help? This content that I'm going to produce is going to help these people, this demographic. It's going to be salespeople, it's going to be ops people, it's going to be engineers. You first have to start with, who are you trying to help? Then from there, you can get in the mindset of, what is it that they need help with? What do I think I can provide them with value? So we do this with our clients. Our clients sign on with us. Let's say that they're doing a full video package as part of their marketing services. Full video package with us, you're talking 120 videos over the year. Plus they want us to write content. Let's say we're going to do 40 pieces of content a year. I have to first understand, what type of value can I provide to this audience? If I'm going after engineers, is there tools that I can provide to them? Is there a white paper? Is there a book? But just do the same thing from a marketing standpoint with your content. So if you're down with video, you just have to take a step back and say, what could I say on video? And maybe you're like, I don't want to do video, I want to do written. That's fine. The same rules apply. What type of piece of content can I create that I think is going to provide this target demographic with some sort of value? Not everybody is going to get value out of it. So it's either going to have to educate them or entertain them. The entertainment aspect really comes into like graphics or videos. To entertain somebody with an article or with written word, it has to either be short and to the point, or you really have to hook them to read a 2,000 word piece of content that's entertaining, or 1,000 words that's entertaining. You got to hook them hard to get them to read that versus watching something somewhat passive, right? They can sit there and watch it while they do their thing, versus reading is more active. But what can you create that's going to provide them with value? Put yourself in their shoes. So for me, from a marketing standpoint, I can look at everything that companies are doing that's not working, everything that's new, and then breaking those into categories. So for us, the way that we do our content planning is we look at marketing verticals, services that we offer, what we do every day. I only speak to things that I personally have experience doing and producing results for. So I can say, we have 7 services. All those services are a video category or a content category for us. Within those services are subcategories. So I'm talking about video marketing. I can say video marketing for product manufacturing companies, video marketing for service-based manufacturing companies, video marketing for social, long-form video for YouTube. Like, all of these are different categories and subcategories within the general topic. So if you're doing something like you have a service, you can think like, who is my target demographic? Oh, well, I'm doing machining. So I'm going after product design engineers or engineers, product development engineers, things like that. What are they thinking about? What can you provide them with that'll make their job easier or provide them with value to make their job more efficient? Is it design guidelines? Is it best practices? Is it how to price how much something should cost? Is it tools like that? Is it calculators? Is it breaking down how much time it should take to manufacture something? Like, if you have a part that's this big and you've got this many corners and this many pieces, then it's going to take you this long to get it. So this is the type of pricing you should expect back. Could it be something like different material selections? So on the machining side or even on the plastic side, these materials are good for these things. If you run into these issues, right? So now you're doing into the problem areas. Engineers deal with problems. This isn't working from a design standpoint or from a functionality standpoint. So what I'm going to do is provide them with guidelines and tips and tricks on how to from a functionality standpoint, make things easier. Could be for DFM, design for manufacturability. I'm going to create content that's going to make it easier for them to design something that is easily manufacturable. So when you break this down and look at it, it's like, if I'm going after engineers, that's probably the easiest because they all want to learn. They all want to be educated. There's so much information out there, and you can try and be the smartest person in the room. Like, I'm going to take my 10 years of experience in this industry with working with engineered products or engineering services. I'm going to apply it to this thing that I'm doing now to help these engineers out. So you have to understand what is going to provide them with value. Operations people, commodity managers, everybody's got their own pain points. Everybody's got their own things that they want to know. You have to think, if I'm going to provide them with something, I look at it like this. I want whoever my audience is to be able to go into whoever their boss is, say or implement something that I said is going to work, and it does work for them, and them to get credit for that. So I'm trying to make people better at their job. I don't need them to say, oh yeah, Kyle told me how to do it. I just need them to say, hey, I tried this thing, read about it, learned about it, tried doing this thing. It's working. I'm going to do more of it. Get the pats on your back. It doesn't need to come back to me. I could care less about that. I want you guys to be the best at what you do, and you guys should want your target demographic to be the best at what they do. So instead of creating content to engage a company to use your services, go to the personal level and the person in the job. Who is your target demographic? What are their pain points every day? What are commonalities that you see, frequently asked questions, issues that you see company after company after company run into? What type of content can you create around that to get them to say, this was valuable? That's what it all comes down to. That's why I said in the beginning, if you get value out of this, share it with somebody that you know, because I'm just trying to provide you with some piece of value. Even if I talk for an hour and you get 2 pieces of information that is valuable and you tell one person, it eventually all comes back to me anyway. So you have to go into it and say, I want to help these people, make them smarter, make their jobs easier, make them look smarter, make them look good to their bosses. What type of things should I create and how should I create them? Video is going to be the easiest, but tools, guides, like we have a client that has this book that they send out, and it's all about what they do in metal fabrication and how this book can help people design parts better, and also the processing of the fabrication of the products. Tips and tricks and things like that. So you first have to understand the value. Number 2, the best way to do it is to go live, because you can engage, you're going to get more engagement with your audience if you go live, put yourself out there. The reason why this works is because if you look at your space of whatever it is that you do, if nobody else is going live, then you've got first movers advantage. Even if there are people going live, they're most likely not doing it consistently or frequently enough to get like a buzz around them. Now in my space, there's so many people that are like, we're going live, we're going to do these interview shows, we're going to talk about this X, Y, and Z. Tons of people are doing it. I'm just doing it for industrial manufacturing. That's what separates me. And even people in the space that are doing similar things to me, that have a podcast or a private group or whatever, they're not doing it at the volume that we do it, or the length that we've been doing it, like 90, 100 events live. We've got the longevity there to be able to say, look at our library of stuff. Like, nobody's got more content than we produce about this subject, and it's all good content. So going live creates that dynamic environment where you can engage with people. The first time you go live, there's going to be nobody that shows up, maybe one person, or if they do show up, they're not going to comment, they're not going to engage. But it's all about the repetition and getting out there. So you can create content statically, like if I recorded this and posted out there on YouTube, like we do with some of our videos, that's static content. Then you can get engagement from comments on it on YouTube, or comments if you post it on LinkedIn, natively uploading it into LinkedIn. You can get engagement that way. But the live format is where you talk about something, you ask a question, maybe one person engages. Some lives that we do, there's like one comment or one question, that's it. And we've got 130 people in there, and they're asking comments and questions, or leaving comments and asking questions back and forth for the entirety of the hour. So going live, put yourself out there. I would say that's a good way to get the most amount of engagement. If you want to ease into it and build up your audience first, then just create video content, post it, so that way you have an audience built up. So when you do go live, you can actually hit it from the ground, like hit it in stride, and people are engaging right away. But it all comes back to that first point, to understand the value. What am I going to talk about? What are the top issues that your potential customers or target demographic deal with at a personal level, at a business level, at a financial level? What type of value can you provide? Then you're going to create a topic around that and say, I'm going to go live to talk about the 3 common mistakes we see new design engineers do when they first come out of college. So it's something where you're not looking at like the search volume behind it, you're looking at what can provide the most value. So it's value versus search. There may not be a lot of people that are searching that phrase, but if you feel like you can create content that's really going to help somebody, it's more of a value-based type of content. The third thing is going to be guest shows. That's the easiest one. If you're nervous, if you're like, hey, I'm creating content, but I want to hold myself accountable to a higher standard, or I want to bring more dynamic personalities into it, just create a guest show. Every week, I'm going to interview a top engineer at a industrial company, and I'm going to ask those engineers to share their story about things that they learned X, Y, and Z, or how they feel like they would handle this situation. Or I'm going to talk to ops people at large corporations that are doing a lot of manufacturing and say, what are the common things that you see and what type of problems are you overcoming on a daily or weekly basis? If you reach out to pretty much anybody in the industrial space and say, hey, I've got this show that I'm doing, it's going to be live, are you open to doing it? Most people are going to say, yes, I'm good to go. So it's an easy way to get people to create content with you, is just say, I'm going to have a show and bring you in. It's going to be a live format. Schedule live on LinkedIn, schedule live on YouTube. That is how you're going to get the most amount of content. And then from there, you're taking their followers and their engagement and bringing it into your ecosystem, so you both collaborate together. You're doubling down on the amount of people, which is going to increase the engagement. So guest shows are great. We did one before. We've gotten away from it. We're going to start going back to it because there's tons of people that I want to have conversations with live like this, and that way you guys can have conversations with them as well and ask them specific questions. So we're going to start doing it again. Our content creation schedule has been so crazy because we're so busy growing with new customers, new industries, new verticals, trade shows. I'm part of associations, speaking at events, stuff like that. So we're going to go back to doing our show, which is called Talk Shop, where it's just good to have that different type of engagement, different type of face with it. So doing a live show, it could be anything. You have to think outside the box. You can just Google search live show topics or podcasts, best podcasts, things like that, and just like look at what they're doing and then change the application of it into what you're doing. So it could be something where you're interviewing experts, interviewing people at big companies in specific roles and functions, and then from there, make it specific to your industry. Don't just say, well, Lewis Howes does it this way, or this person does it that way, so I'm going to do it the same way. You have to apply it to your industry, because industrial manufacturing is different. You don't want, this is not like some cookie cutter approach. Number 4, repurposing the content. You want to increase engagement, you have to push it out there harder. You have to make sure that people understand all of the content you're creating. This is not a moment in time approach. If I just do this live show and post nothing until next week, I'm going to get less engagement. So you record the content, record the show, record yourself, long form content, and you chop it up into small pieces, so you're dripping it out over time before you post the next piece of long form content. That is how you're going to keep the engagement rolling. The more engagement that you're getting, views, like impressions, likes, comments, reposts, etc. on social, is telling the LinkedIn algorithm that your content is good, so they will share it out to more people. It's a very simple approach of, I have to post things regularly so that way people know about me and I'm increasing my brand awareness. And then as I post stuff, if you were to add up all of that engagement into a single post, then you have your engagement for the week or the month. But you have to repurpose this content because you don't want it to be forgotten about. Us doing 6 live shows a week on LinkedIn, or 6 live shows a week. Riley would kill me if I did 6 live shows a week.
5 days in the week.
Yeah, he's coming in on Saturday then. Then if we just post that and left it on LinkedIn, it's going to get buried. People aren't going to be able to find it. It's going to drop off of the algorithm. It's going to drop off of people's feeds. That's where YouTube's better, because it stays there. So somebody can search and then that live show or that piece of content shows up. But it has to be repurposed. You take your long form piece, you chop it into smaller pieces, you share it out there, you tag the people to get their engagement, get their connections engagement. That's what it's all about. So if you want to increase your engagement, you have to repurpose your content, start with the long form, and then break it into small form from there. And the 5th one's going to be engage with the audience. So you have to engage with the audience. If I just post and never engage, then people are going to be less likely to engage. And you know how difficult it is to get my specific demographic of CEOs, ops people, engineers, sales and marketing people to engage on social? It's difficult because this industry, they're not about engagement. Like, an engineer is not going to be like, ooh, you know what I want to do today? I want to go on LinkedIn and leave a comment on this person's post. It just doesn't happen. So I take it with a grain of salt. I'm not looking for 1,000 likes and 500 comments. I'm not even looking for 5 comments. I'm just looking for, did this piece of content provide value? Do I believe it does? Yes. Did it provide value in some way? Or does my content in general provide value? Am I getting positive reinforcement and feedback from people DMing me saying, Kyle, love your stuff, been following you for years, this worked, or really took what you said in this and I made this change and it worked like this. Get those all the time, so that way I know that the content's providing value, so that way that fuels us to keep doing it, invest more resources, more time, etc. But if I'm not engaging back with people, if I just post and don't respond back, then they're going to be like, this is a one-sided relationship, and that can't be like that. You can't just go into it and say, what I want out of this is your attention and views and your engagement back to me, so that gets in front of more people and I I can make more money. It has to be what I want is to provide you with value. That's going to require to get your attention and retain your attention for a little bit. If you engage with me, I will engage back with you, or I will try and engage with you before you engage with me, saying, hey, check out this thing, this video, check out this post. I think you'll get some value out of it. As people engage back and forth, if you don't do that, then the audience is just going to be like, this guy never engages back. I'm not even going to leave a comment. Then they stop leaving comments, and then that affects the algorithm. Then LinkedIn thinks that you're just spamming people, and it's not a good situation. So you want to create engaging content and engage back with them. Some things that you can do: ask questions. You can ask questions on your show, live show. You can ask questions in a poll on LinkedIn. You can ask questions in a short form video, like, what are the 3 things that are causing you issues from going from this much growth to that much growth? And you can create content about it saying, these are 3 things that I think it could be, or in my experience, I've talked to these types of companies and these are their 3 things. And then here's how to overcome those things. All those pieces of content can be done differently. It doesn't all have to be in one 20-minute video. It could be short 1 to 2 minute videos for each one. Each point is a 2-minute video explaining why those 3 things are important, or how you can help solve those things, or some things that people need to think about to help relieve those issues that they're having. But it's all about engagement. You have to listen to your audience. If they ask for something, if they ask for a piece of content to be created, put it into your notes and say, I'm going to shoot this video for this person because they asked it. Years ago, every single like, when I first started doing this, like probably 6-7 years ago at scale, every single like that I would get on a social post, I'd go and click on that person, send them a message. Hey, thanks for liking my post. Thanks for commenting on my video. Anybody that comments in it, thanks for the comment. I appreciate you. Let me comment back. But every single like I used to do, when I was only getting 2, 3, 4 likes, I would comment to those people, I appreciate you liking it. What ended up happening was there was a couple of those people that then liked every single post I did for multiple years. And those people became like part of my inner circle of content creation, to where I'm like, hey, check this out. Hey, thought of you on this. Or I'm using their situation as examples. This person DM'd me and they had this issue. I think this issue is common in this industry. So I'm going to talk for 30 minutes specifically about this issue to help this person out. And I hope that I help somebody else out at the same time. So that's what it's about, is engaging with the audience to build this community, because that's what it's all about. Listening to what they have to say, not the criticism. If people are like, dude, your videos are too loud, your background music's too loud. One person like was spamming me for 2 months, every single video saying, I hate your voice, I hate the way you look. And I'm like, dude, that's insane. Stop watching my videos then. So you don't want to go into that realm with it, but it's all about creating this community of people that like what you do, support you, you support them back, and it is a win-win situation. Guys, hopefully you got value out of that content. Hit that subscribe button below and turn on notifications. If you're not already following me on LinkedIn, go over to LinkedIn, give me that follow. And if you guys want to listen to all this content in a podcast format, type in industrial sales and marketing with me, and I'll see you on the next one.